Weekly MTG had the first big reveals for Avatar The Last Airbender, so let's jump on in and see what was revealed. But first, don't forget to get subscribed before our 500 subscriber giveaway. The prize is a Play Booster box of Magic the Gathering, and the winner can choose any recent set, but it could be one of these Final Fantasy boxes. Very tempting, right? The first topic is the full art Appa lands, named after everyone's favorite flying bison. The goal is to capture the scenes as Team Avatar would have seen them flying on Appa. Then we see the Southern Air Temple, which seems pretty good as an uncommon. I actually thought this was a land at first and would be played for free, and that would have been so overpowered. When it enters, put X +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, where X is the number of shrines you control. And if you play a shrine later, everything gets another counter. One big payoff late game, or constant increases as the game goes on. Hopefully we'll see a lot of these shrines in this reveal. Spoiler alert, we didn't. The team describes that replicating much of the Avatar's adventure and story directly in cards was a major goal. That's how we got many of these cards, including Aang's Iceberg. The show very quickly has Sokka and Katara encounter Aang in the iceberg before beginning their adventure. The card itself is the standard white 3-mana exile something spell, except it also has water bending. This is a good payoff if you exile away a token and want to use this effect later. Plus, we already know some cards have different payoffs for different types of bending. Also, new Vivi just dropped here now with Fire Lord Zuko. He has Firebending X, where X is equal to his power. When he attacks, add red mana equal to X. He also pumps all creatures with a +1/+1 counter when he casts a spell from exile, or a permanent you control enters from exile to help increase his free mana. Now he's obviously not as powerful as Vivi, and can't be abused by Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but he's still pretty damn good. Next up, we got my main mans here spitting bars on Sokka's Haiku. Probably the most expensive counterspell without X in the casting cost, and introducing us to the lesson card type, but what an excellent card for flavor. Fated Firepower is our first look at Uncle Iroh, and he is here to let you do X extra damage to everything when you end up with little too much mana to spend. What an impressive combat trick this will be since it has Flash. It's also going to be terrifying with Vivi around if he survives the next band wave. Redirect Lightning is a 1 mana with downsides. You can pay 5 life or 2 colorless as an additional casting cost, but then change the target of target spell or ability with a single target. This looks nice, but with so many cards out right now that are either modal or say target up to, it might have limited interaction. But Redirect in red is going to be pretty strong. Red is also one of Vivi's colors, so that's going to be a problem. One of the big bad men is coming in the Rise of Sozin, a saga that is also a full city skyscraper, not just a house. So if Farewell was the best 6 mana spell, let's toss Rise of Sozin's name into the ring now too. When it enters, destroy all creatures. Then it gets the full effect of the end without actually needing a target. Just pick their biggest win con and poof, all their copies are gone. Then on step 3, he just gets to persist as Fire Lord Sozin. If Sozin connects in combat to a player, you can pay that same amount in X and dump that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Hopefully just as powerful as Avatar Aang. It costs a whole lot of different mana and lets you draw a card whenever you do any bending. It also has Firebending too. I assume that everyone else who has Firebending just lets them generate red mana, and that Aang's does as well. If you're able to pull off all 4 types of bending with Aang on the field, you'll transform into Aang Master of Elements. He will discount spell cost by one of each of the 5 colors. And then if you choose during upkeep, you can flip him back, and that's anyone's upkeep. If you flip him back, you gain 4 life, draw 4 cards, put 4 counters onto him, as well as deal 4 damage to each opponent. Now, card advantage is usually one of the most viable ways to win games of Magic. If you have a bunch of extra cards, it's more likely that you have the answers you need to answer your opponent's threats. But is 8 cards for flipping Aang both ways better than all the shenanigans we just saw on Sozin? The creators do discuss that we'll see differently named Aangs that will have access to different types of bending. Maybe even metal bending like we see here on Toph, the first metal bender. This is probably one of the most unique mechanics I've seen in a bit for Magic. Toph makes your non-token artifacts into lands, but they can't tap for mana. But at your end step, you can pick one, put 2 counters on it, and give it haste. When it dies or is exiled, you return it to the battlefield tapped. I don't quite know how this is going to be broken yet. Probably the deck that is flinging artifacts at me now. But I'm just glad it doesn't have blue mana on it, so I hopefully don't have rogue simulacrum synthesizers attacking me while also creating gigantic golems. Katara, Water Tribe's Hope, doesn't seem like the same kind of slam dunk for playability. Now it does seem like it will fit into different token control strategies and be a finisher pump, but we'll have to see. The water bending power will let you pay X, and then creatures you control will have base power and toughness of XX until end of turn, If it was plus X, it would seem much more powerful to me, but base X doesn't seem to work in my head yet. Hopefully, there's just a vastly more powerful mythic Katara. Well, I was instantly wrong. The very next card is Katara the Fearless, an ability doubler for allies, with one more color of mana involved during casting cost. This card seems much more viable even in 3 colors, although I suspect we'll see more Katara. Possibly a bloodbending Katara? We can only hope. Sokka, Bold Boomer, wants you to stop playing your music so loud. When he enters, discard up to 2 cards and then draw that many cards. Do we really need this effect down to a 2 mana card? Holy power creep. Let's see what his second ability is too. Whenever you cast an artifact or lesson spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Sokka. Let's give him Vivi's ability with Cauldron too while we're at it. This card is absolutely bonkers. Definitely the rich getting richer here. Appa, Steadfast Guardian, gives us our first look into airbending. He can flash, he can fly, he's a bison in the sky. Hey, I just made that up. When Appa enters, airbend any number of other target non-land permanents you control. Then you can pay 2 to bring them back. Whenever you cast a spell from exile, make a 1/1 white allied creature token. You're going to be able to draw out all kinds of effects during combat, and then flash in Appa to the rescue and save all your guys. Momo, Friendly Flyer, is such an interesting 1-drop. He makes non-lemur creatures with flying cost 1 less for the first time each turn, and when another creature with flying enters, he gets a pump till the end of turn. Maybe we can figure out how to Appa bounce the board and make an unstoppable juggernaut out of Momo. The first time we see Earthbending is on this enchantment, the Earthbending lesson. It doesn't make all your non-token artifacts lands like Metalbending does, but it does make a land into a 0/0 with haste, and then you get to put 4 counters on it, or counters equal to your Earthbending power. Then the land still gets to come back tapped if it's exiled or it dies. Fire Nation Attacks is the big reveal of how everything got started in the world of Avatar. You get 2 2/2s with Firebending, and it has a flashback of 9. Jesus. The headliner for Avatar will be the Aang card, but in raised foil. I'm pretty curious how they're going to do raised foil on a double-sided card. There will also be this Field Notes treatment style. Look out for the elemental frame seen here as well. Another chase style will be the borderless battle pose versions. I've already seen some people online comment that these characters don't look like this at this time. Obviously Zuko doesn't wear a ponytail as Fire Lord, but they're just trying to do their best. Leave them alone. Hakoda, Selfless Commander, will let you look at the top deck at any time, cast ally spells from the top, and if you sack him, creatures you control get a bump of 5 to toughness and gain indestructible until end of turn. This is also the reveal of the borderless style. Here's the screenshot style Force of Negation. I complained that Final Fantasy had many of these cards that were just screenshots of the games, and this version is at least a higher quality than a PS1 game, but I'd much rather see these be redrawn for Magic. That aside, what a baller card to be Force of Negation. Aang is literally ripping out this man's ability to channel, probably the biggest nope of a blue spell that you could cast. These cards do have the season and episode information on the card as well to notate exactly where it came from. They also comment that there will be a card for every episode, so Secret Tunnel? What will it be? Ensnaring Bridge probably? You place your bets now. The Banyan Tree will be a reprint of the Great Henge, a longtime fan favorite. I don't know if it's been printed since Lord of the Rings. Jumpstart Aang is going to build a board. He can airbend a target when he enters, and gets an experience counter when your creatures leave without dying. Then he makes a 1/1 for each experience counter at the start of your upkeep. Katara Waterbending Master is a mythic Katara, but I still think we'll get one in the main set. This one will get an experience counter whenever you cast a spell during your opponent's turn, and then when she attacks you may draw a card for each experience counter and then discard a card. It's like filtering but better. Firelord Ozai is going to sack creatures for unexpiring mana, and then for 6 you can exile everyone's top deck and play one for free. I hope the Cabbage Merchant gets a main set card as well, but he's going to make you a food whenever your opponent casts a non-creature spell. If you take combat damage from creatures, they eat your food. And you can also tap 2 untapped foods for 1 mana of any color. I'm actually pretty excited for Avatar now. Red players rise up and firebend. The card numbers do make it seem like we may be low on card count here, as well as similar to Spider-Man, that there may only be 300 or so cards before we get to the special treatments. Don't forget to get subscribed before next time. Thanks for watching everyone, and take care.